Hello and welcome to Module 5 of PeopleCert Scrum Master I certification training, which is about the Scrum events. You can expect about 16 questions from this module. We take a holistic look at the Scrum framework. It includes the Scrum team, the Scrum events, and the Scrum artifacts, apart from other rules, principles, etc. We already covered the Scrum team made up of the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the developers. We've also discussed artifacts, namely the product backlog, sprint backlog, and usable increment. Now we look at the events. There are 5 events in a Scrum iteration or a sprint. They are sprint planning, sprint execution or the sprint itself, the daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. There is also the product backlog refinement, which is an activity rather than a formal event. Scrum events. Each event in Scrum is a formal opportunity to inspect and adapt Scrum artifacts. These events are specifically designed to enable the transparency required. Again, here we see the 3 pillars of Scrum in a definition reinforcing Scrum's empirical nature. Before we start with the Scrum events, we will address overall product planning to set the stage for actual events. Product planning before the sprints. We are still within the same module number 5, Scrum events. Product planning. Businesses define their organizational mission, their purpose, that is, and vision or the desired future. The strategies of an organization support the achievement of the vision. The organization's portfolio of products and services, meaning the collection of products and services, support the achievement of their strategies, which in turn support the achievement of the vision. This hierarchy from the vision to the portfolio to the products and services supports the subsequent planning to create, deliver, and support the products and services. What this tells us is all planning and priority decisions for an enterprise emanate from the highest levels. The mission or organizational purpose describes the reason why the organization exists. And therefore, in support of that reason for existence is the anticipated future or the vision for the organization, usually set for 5 to 10 years, sometimes maybe shorter in the digital era. It sets an inspirational tone for the organization and expectations around future planning. The strategies then support the accomplishment of the future vision, which in turn will drive the changes to the product portfolio, which will drive the product changes, etc. The rationale for decisions that must be made eventually at the sprint level are hierarchically linked, therefore, to the organizational overall direction. The priority decisions around the product backlog refinement in every sprint and what should be included in the next sprint are not random in nature, but driven by a perspective of the big picture. The planning onion. On agile projects, we spend time planning at multiple levels of detail and at multiple times throughout the product development. As we know, the organization's mission, vision, and strategy are going to drive decision making and activities at the level shown here. The planning onion is often used as a simple and effective way to show the layers of responsibility for getting things done. Each layer of the onion drives the goals of the layer below, sets timeframes, and defines ownership and interaction. As we can see here, we have the strategy at the topmost layer of the onion, which is the long-term product vision or about the product. Then we have the portfolio long-term, again can be the product vision or the product. Then we have product, which is a shorter time frame, let's say a year, which is a product roadmap, meaning in terms of the releases. If it's a 1 year time frame, there could be maybe 3 or 4 releases within that 1 year time frame, which make up the product roadmap. And then there is release. For every release, there is a planning, which could be approximately 3 to 4 months per release. Releases include certain features, and releases consist of sprints or iterations, which are generally a couple of weeks, slightly less or more. And that is where the sprint planning is done, which is going to the user story level. And then on a daily basis, there are daily Scrum tasks. The planning onion has to be supported by the culture of the organization throughout. The more agile the culture, the better the propagation of the planning through the various layers in an agile way. The planning onion is also a brilliant way to describe the three pillars of Scrum. Transparency. This must happen at all levels, from planning to progress reporting. In order for the organization to have a common understanding and to perform daily activities constantly aligned at achieving strategies and business results. If all layers are transparent, then all levels of progress and alignment can be inspected and reviewed. Adoption at all levels follows. The revelation of changes and or progress deviation at all levels allows the Scrum framework to make necessary changes and adapt to the new reality. A third dimension to the planning onion illustrates the frequency of activity at each layer. At the top layer, the frequency between strategy generation activities is quite long, perhaps once a year. Progressively, the activities become more frequent and of shorter duration, down to the most frequent planning activity of day planning through the daily Scrum event. Overall, the planning onion is a great tool to visualize the larger workings between the Scrum roles, artifacts, events, and rules. It also illustrates how Scrum adheres to the agile values and principles for value-driven, iterative, incremental, and business or customer-focused delivery. The end result is faster time to market, better delivery predictability, increased customer responsiveness, ability to change direction by managing changing priorities, enhanced software quality, and improved risk management. There are several articles on the internet regarding the planning onion. Here is a good one. What does the planning onion mean to you? It has the same picture as we just went through, but let's look at a little bit more into this. Strategy. Strategic vision is at the top of the planning onion because it defines what a company is and what it wants to become. Timeframes at this layer are more about the individual strategic goals that are produced here. Typically, companies provide 1 year, 5 year plans and share strategic vision and objectives with key management to pass down the chain. This layer is owned by the C-level management who define and govern all the execution of the strategic goals. Then comes the portfolio layer. The portfolio layer of this onion represents the overall product offering that consists of application suites and tools and how they interact with each other. While our clients utilize individual products, they typically engage many products that integrate and work together to provide an overall solution. The owner of this layer is typically upper management in the product area that has vision into the various product lines. Decisions here should support the strategic vision and goals and set direction for the product team's roadmaps and integration synchronization, which means the investment or the sponsorship of the various products and services is decided in the portfolio layer. Then we have the product layer. The product layer represents product teams who own one or more related products. Each team sets a product vision and outlines the roadmap for their products within the product suite. The typical time box for products is approximately 12 months in this case. Product managers own this layer of the planning onion and validate roadmaps for products to the portfolio and strategic vision. A roadmap is a path to reach the product vision. Release layer. A release represents a prioritized backlog of product features that represent smaller plans that drive forward this product vision. A release is time boxed here into approximately year quarters, such that there are 4 releases per year. This provides a means for prioritizing themes to target the product roadmap. Product managers typically own this layer and work with product managers to prioritize and slot high-level themes into releases to create a plan for iterations. We have the iteration layer, which is a time box set of activities or stories that we plan to deliver in 2-week increments, generally common. There are typically 6 iterations to a release. When planning, the product manager reviews the release plan and divides it into 4 to 6 iterations worth of backlog and prioritizes to deliver key features quickly. Using guidance from the release plan, product and product managers determine approximate priority of themes and epics to meet release goals. Stories are initially created by the product manager and shared with the team in story workshops. The team commits to a set of stories each iteration in planning meetings. Then lastly, we have the day layer, which is best described by the actions they take in one day towards the iteration story goals. The team meets daily for a 15-minute stand-up Scrum meeting, where they report what was completed since the last meeting, what is today's plan, and are there any roadblocks that someone can help remove. An additional question which could be asked in this layer is, what is the confidence that the sprint goal will be met?